Hello everyone, hello sir. Today I'm very honored to be here and introduce the language situations in Quebec. So my presentation is divided into 4 parts. Come to the first part. We will just have an introduction about the impact of geography and population environment. Well, Quebec is located in the northeast of Canada. Its language, culture, and civil law reflect the French traditions, while its political system and economic life are influenced by Britain. According to the 1971 census, the French speakers account for like 28% of Canadians' population. Quebec's uniqueness compared to the other Canadian provinces is in its language. Quebec citizens are primarily French speaker, and while those of the other Canadian provinces are Anglophone. For this reason, Quebec's nationalism has been based since its inception on the defense of French language and culture. Come to the second part, we'll talk about the minority language in Quebec. Well, it can be seen from the picture that there are many minority languages in Quebec, of which English accounts for like 30%, which is the largest minority language. Unlike English in the other part of Canada, English in Quebec is a minority language in any sense. Well, according to the 2011 Canadian census, around 13.7% Quebec's inhabitants report English as their first language or mother tongue, which are the immigrations from English-speaking and non-English-speaking nations, and the immigrations from other Canadian provinces, and of course the strong English education program in Quebec school also just contribute to the origins of English-speaking Quebecers. Well, before French was designed as the official language, English was widely used in public life and in the commercial issues. And then we will introduce the history and current situations of language policy of Quebec as a whole. Well, firstly, let me introduce the New France and English domination period. So France claimed the land we now know as the Canada of the Gulf of St. Lawrence in 1534. And the colonizers created sturdy settlement rapidly, and French was enforced as the lingua franca at the expense of the local tongues. In 1763, the Britain's claw assumed that the official authorities of New France after capturing the Quebec and Montreal. The French aristocracy departed the province, international trade halted, and the French education dwindled, while an English-speaking minority took control of political and economic. Well, following the establishment of Canadian confederations in 1867, the Canadian French, which had previously been a fairly conventional blending of French and the other French-based dialect, began to grow more autonomously. And the end of 18th centuries saw a large portions of the rural populations migrate to the mostly English-speaking cities as a result of industrializations. While the common French language began to mix with English. In the 1960s, an uprising known as the Quiet Revolution led to the great social and political change. Language was at the heart of many debates. In 1974, the French became the official language of Quebec, and it was adopted in labor, commerce, administration, and education. The Charters of the French language, also known as Bill 101, was passed in 1977. Various institutions emerged, like the Office of the French Language, which worked with university researchers to create standards for Quebecers French. For the current law, although some government serves are still available in English, French has been the province's only official language since 1974. Quebec is unique in that it is bilingual on the constitutional and federal level, but only allow French to be spoken in its provincial institutions. While French must be the only official language of Quebec, the Canadian Constitution would be modified to say. It is also the official language of the province of Quebec. Well, the work of art also affect, the language. Well, the persistent development in Quebec literature's creation during the 19th centuries, as well as the unruly peak of its expressions during the first 20 years of the Quiet Revolution, are the greatest insistence of what a language may do when it regains its freedom and means. A quotation from Gaston Miro, who was an important point writers and editors of Quebec's, the Quiet Revolution, served to just summarize its influence. The futures of Quebec literatures and of its love stories with the language is linked to the destiny of the people and of the culture that built them. And furthermore, because the art is linked to the conditions under which language and cultural development, the authors and artists have found for the establishment of the set of institutional means, tools of expressions, and also the modern technologies in Quebec, capable of, just fostering the multimedia creations and the convergence of all the art. So at the first part, we will have a brief introduction about the Quebec French. While influenced by English and Aboriginal language, French has gradually developed over time. It is a variant of, the Canadian French. It has its own characteristics and lexical and shows its unique history. When speaking to Quebec French, well, when speaking to Quebec French, personal and demonstrative pronouns often merge with verb. Just for instance, like je suis become to true, which means I am, and ll become y, elle is a. And those Balkan pronunciations common to 18th century France and still used in vernacular French dialect today. Pronouns are also generally double in speech. For example, like this one.
Quand est-ce que vous venez, vous autres?
Sounds a bit like when are you coming, guys? Except for those words ending acclived. Just for fun, many speakers occasionally insert you into a question, like "So is Tiffany," which literally means "Is it you finished?" which is really weird and funny. Well, it can be clearly feel that there are some difference between the Quebec French and the traditional French. Well, to summarize, a language must first be acknowledged and recognized to live. Its demand political, social, economic, and cultural status. These positions allowed for generalizations of the language's usage and utilized it while strengthening the group's identity. However, since language is the group image, its desire to return it, the status qualities tandem therefore become the finest guarantee for language evaluation, allowing it to freely speak and create. Expressions and productions improve the language's positions and qualities, as well as the group's feelings of identity. So here's my citation sources. Okay, so that's all of my presentation. Thank you for listening and have a nice one. Thank you.